I didn't want to do this episode. I didn't want to play this part. I didn't want to have to be the one to tell you what I'm going to have to tell you. But what I want to tell you has to be said because it hasn't been said in thousands of years. And I'm the only one who's about to tell you this. You're not going to hear this anywhere else. But we have a duty to tell you so that in the end, you can't say you didn't know. Now, before I tell you, I was, my stomach was in knots, wondering how was I going to talk about this. And so I I looked for some courage and I looked up two people who I found about a year ago after my hypnosis, and they described things and places that I'd been. And so I don't know all of their experiences or anything. So I don't know if any of their work contradicts what I've seen and what I've told you. But what I do know is that what has come across me from them has given me the courage to actually tell you what I'm going to tell you. Most people are afraid to tell you what I'm going to tell you. And so the two people, by the way, are in the description box, and their names are Micah Turnbow and Nancy Cohen. Now, a couple of days ago, or in, I think, the last game session we had, in the Christ Bride one, I told you about how I had this vision where Jesus was making out with me after I found these rings. And I told you about how he put a baby inside of me. Now, what am I actually saying? That's the part that is so difficult to talk about. Because in order for me to talk about what I'm saying, I have to tell you something you've never heard before. And what I tell you might drive you insane. So now think about it from my perspective. I have a job to do. I have to tell you this thing because you have to know at the end of days. But now, if I tell you this thing, it might make you upset. It might do the opposite of 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 15, which is what this Afro-Deity Collective office is built on. I'm supposed to be giving you hope. I'm supposed to be making you feel like following Jesus is a good thing. But now when I tell you this, you're gonna go nuts. And I'm not a teacher, I'm just an actor. So imagine, from my perspective, a random actor gets taken over by alien intelligence from the Hydra constellation, which created the Milky Way galaxy, sent his genetic codes through the planet Venus, which came out of nowhere, creating asteroids everywhere, then landed on Earth on the east coast of Africa, goes to Asia, survives, comes back, fulfilling the prophecy of Seth, and then he has to tell you this big thing, and you're just scrolling on the internet, a random stranger. But I know if you're here that you believe that coincidences can lead you to your destiny. That's how Donald Trump became president. because of us. Like I told you before, we control coincidences. So all we had to do was get some guy 100 years ago to write a book using the names Trump and Barron. And then 100 years later, we get Donald to see the book. And then in his mind, he's like, it's a sign. It's my ancestors. And then he believes it. He acts like it. And then he achieves it. People tried to take him out and we protected him. Why? Because we're trying to show you that no one can beat our technology. Everyone is trying to figure out how do demons and aliens and angels and Jesus come together. Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. And I was debating on, should I just tell you all at once? And then whoever gets it, and who doesn't, my contract is fulfilled. Or should I tell you bit by bit like a lawyer and make sure you have everything so that I cover my behind? So I'm going to do both. First, I'm going to tell you everything. If you get it, you get it in an hour. If you don't, you don't. Then over the next couple of weeks or whatever, I'll tell you bit by bit. So I will mention names in what I'm about to tell you. And I'm just going to say things really quickly and I won't give you time to digest it. So if you have a weak parasympathetic system, please turn away now. This is the time to go because the game is going into hush mode. So, night game, let's go. I'm just going to come out and tell you straight. The real person that you have all been praying to, calling God, is Pluto. Pluto is a squid, an octopus. I've seen him. You go to this, Venus takes you. See, this is why I start throwing out random things and you're just going to have to go with it and then stick around over the next couple of weeks and I'll tell you exactly who's Venus, where did we meet, how did we go there, blah, blah, blah. So Venus took me to meet the octopus man, the octopus king. And the octopus king tells you something and he's like the AI controller. Okay, it's God. It's the God, the Christian God, the one Abraham was talking to, blah, blah, blah. That's a squid. It's an octopus. Okay, can we get that out of the way? I'm going to do a whole thing on where it comes from and how it changed and blah, 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 blah. But all you need to know now is it's an octopus. And he gives you stuff. He tells you stuff if you get to meet him. So how do you get to meet him? You go to the ninth gate. What's the ninth gate? Go ask Johnny Depp in the movie, The Ninth Gate. Or just ask me and what happened. And then... or ask yourself what's going to happen to you after you do your initiation. Because remember, we have Pluto right down at the bottom in the materials we've been studying previously. So obviously, when you descend down the ladder, because we bring energy down, we don't send it up because we are not demons. So we bring it down. When you descend down, the last person you see before you can come back is Pluto. Why do you think that is? Well, in astrology, they tell you that Pluto is the god of transformation, death and rebirth, the black holes, mysteries, stuff like that. So what is the final mystery? The final mystery is how do you create and how do you destroy? So if we are looking at creation and destruction, when you are initiating, you are destroying your previous view of what you are doing on earth, and what your role is in the tapestry of life. Grab a light and let's take a flight. I'm so glad we licensed the Late Flight show to Night Game. It just makes this good, like, cross-world interpolation. So the most important thing, just trying to break the tension for where this is going, because it gets worse. It gets much, much worse. This is the life-ruining one. So I'm glad I'm seeing no one in the room, zero. So I'm glad, because I don't want anyone to know. But at least I said it. Because, I have to copy God, and God said. Okay, so when you meet Pluto, before you can come back, the demons in the underworld want you to stay. Who are the demons in the underworld? They are the people you thought you would please by achieving the things you thought you needed to achieve in order to be whole. But at Hydra, we don't want you to be perfect, which is what you guys seem to be aiming for, perfection. If I have this, then I'll be this. What we want at Hydra is for you to be whole, meaning not needing anything other than yourself, which is why when we look at the descent that you take in your initiation, what you're really doing is taking off parts of your old self one by one until you get to the end with Pluto, with God, the one who created you from dust. And you say what you are. That's where they weigh your heart and figure out, are you who you say you are? That's all Pluto wants. Pluto, or God, the squid man, doesn't care who you are. You can be a freak. You can be like Moses, who was a killer. Moses killed a man and buried him in the sand and ran away. You can be, you can be like Paul. You can be like, all of the people had their own different things. That's not the problem. The problem is if you don't know that about yourself, or if you do know that about yourself, but you hide it about yourself, or if you know that about yourself and you use it as a power control tool, then Pluto, or God, the squid man, will eat you or reboot you, smash you. Well, the way they crack skulls, because you are inauthentic to your design. He knows why he made you a freak. He knows why he made you the way you are, no matter what that is. A little monster for the Gaga fans. For you to try and control that means you are trying to control God's design. The purpose of initiation is for you to be able to integrate all parts of yourself in service of the kingdom within. And when you can do that, that's when the rest of the things that you want will just come out of nowhere, will manifest without you having to sit and concentrate, draw pictures of what you want, cut them out of magazines. Don't you want to spend your time in a better way? Don't you want to spend, I'm an actor. I have to learn lines. I have to memorize and cram. I have to act in front of a green screen and pretend that there's someone there who filmed their scenes 2 weeks before and now they're in another country, and all I have is the editor in front of me, zero chemistry, and I have to do a romantic scene, and there's a green screen and a sound guy with scabs on his face falling off in front of me. Why are you guys putting yourselves through that? You don't have to. Leave that to us. We trained in that. Read my book if you're an actor. It will help you immensely. Everything's in the description box. But you don't have to be yourself plus take on the job of an actor. Unless that's what you know you're doing. And if that's what you know you're doing, you should be able to verify that to God when He asks you. I can verify it because I'm an actor. You can see my acting degree and whatever, films, scripts, shows. So if you are ready for a soulmate, where's your verification? So now you're probably thinking, well, what is your verification? How do you get verified to be invited by the squid man, God, to the throne room? How do you get out of Lumania and go to the throne room? That's what the Star Marine is asking. And the normal humans are asking, how do I get out of the material, etheric, or even my mind, the mental, and get up to Lumania or the throne room? It comes from your baptism. Yes, that's the part you guys don't want to hear. In order to be a Star Marine, you must be baptized in living waters. Living waters, not salt waters of the ocean. Living waters because living waters represent the primary source water, and the ocean water represents your aquamarine pyramid that we talked about in the trilogy. Well, actually in the reboot. Jesus got baptized in living waters, the River Jordan to be exact, which returns to its source. And he walked on the ocean water. So Jesus went in to the river water and he walked on the ocean water. Wisdom. When you get your baptism, Star Marine, in living waters, in a river, you are sealed so that when you operate your aquamarine pyramid, you do not get jumped by marine demons or aquamarines. We have different colloquialisms for demons. We call them marines, aquamarines, marinos, all different. But we also have nicknames for star marines, like hey marine, hey star. So it's all about meaning, and you only get meaning when your emotional body is in sync. And how do you get your emotional body in sync? You get baptized. Why? Because when you get baptized in living water, which has no salt, which means it can't program your cerebrospinal fluid and go into your brain, and you know people dump a lot of stuff in the ocean. There's people from the Titanic are still in there. But when you go to the river, you get to get the pure water, which connects you to the octopus man, God, who's like the primary water. Not it, like it. And in the olden days, people didn't know any of this because they didn't have submarines to go to the bottom of the ocean and see giant squids. But what they did know is when they looked up in the sky, they saw a constellation called Hydra. And to them, it looked like a snake, Hydra, a kraken, a ketos. Now you know why I wrote vegetarian ketos only. I'm telling you about God in every single sentence, every image, if only they could see. It's all about meaning, not the words. The words are a screen. It's all about the meaning, because before words was meaning. So when you get your baptism, your emotional bodies, meaning your aquamarine body, pyramid, your gold pyramid, refer to the trilogy and reboot to understand what I'm talking about. And your red pyramid are all working cohesively when you get baptized. Why? Let's look at Jesus' baptism quickly. So Jesus got baptized by John the Baptist, who was an Essene. He was an ultra Orthodox Jewish man. John the Baptist was so Jewish that he thought the main synagogues were corrupt. And so you can think of him kind of like a doomsday prepper. I always think of John the Baptist. I think they did it perfectly. Chris Carter on The X-Files, when he did the reboot, season 11, he had my husband crush, if I wasn't married to Jesus, Joel McHale. Joel McHale's the hottest man, I don't care what anyone says. And he's a Scorpio. So the X-Files people go to Joel McHale, who's like Alex Jones, and they go to this house in the woods with this doomsday prepping people. That was like John the Baptist. He thought the end of the world was coming soon, so they were getting ready for the Messiah and the battle. They were ready for two Messiahs. They wanted the priestly one and then the kingly one. And so they were waiting for Jesus to lead them into battle. And they thought that was the end, right? And so when Jesus went to get baptized over there, first of all, when I told you in that video, sinning for Jesus, this is one of the things that I meant. Jesus was a Jewish man. And when he got baptized, he got fully submerged in the river. And you're not supposed to do that as a rabbi. So he was demonstrating that he was recognizing the authority of John the Baptist, of these doomsday preppers in a way. Because for them, it was a very pure interpretation of the word. Now, you can see correlations between doomsday preppers and pagans and witches, or at least what people call witches, pagans, and shamans in 2025. It's people who, instead of going to the pharmacy in the mall, they grow their own herb garden and make their own medicines. And then people call them witches. Or instead of taking experimental drugs, they go and do their own teas and mixtures. And then people call them Satanists. So when I say sinning for Jesus, I mean if that's what it means to be a sinner in the fundamentalist second law Mosaic Christian church, then yes, go ahead and sin. And the first thing you need to sin is go and get baptized in living waters like Jesus did when he was sinning by going out and doing something a rabbi was not allowed to do. That's the first thing. Well, the first and second, because first he went to John the Baptist. Second, he was fully submerged. Third, when Jesus went into the water, the sky ripped open. They use a different word, I think a more extreme word. The FCC won't allow it. But the sky ripped open. Why? Why did the sky rip open? It goes back to these dimensions. Because Jesus was here in the material realm. And before he came as the perfect man, Son of God, people had to follow these strict laws on you can't do this, you can't do that, observation instead of living. And so when Jesus came into the living water, he became the point of contact between earth and heaven. So it's almost as if the octopus man came to him. This makes sense if you live in a South African context where people go for initiation under the sea. Yes, people go into the sea for a number of days and they come back alive, just like this. Now, it's always weird to me that people in America don't understand this. They always ask me, if you guys can do that, why don't you invent satellites and technology? And I'm like, why would we want to invent satellites and cars when we can get you to do it and we can go space traveling? Why? Like, duh. You guys do all of that stuff. We'll go to Venus and we'll go under the sea for 7 days and come back. And we'll meet God. And you can build electric cars. Like, do you get it? Why would we want to leave? So when Jesus went into the River Jordan, the octopus man ripped open all these dimensions, and that's why there was a hole in the sky. And what came out? The dove. And God said, yes, this is my son. So now, since Jesus opened that portal for us, all we need to do is jump in the water. We no longer have to go and do all these 15 million different things. Because Jesus already told us that when you ever see an established church rejected like me, go to the people, the doomsday preppers, out far away and get them to baptize you, because their authority is greater than that of those who preach fear to you. And I'm glad to say that Micah and Nancy are not like that. So when you get baptized, what are you actually doing to yourself? Well, I'm sorry to break this to you, but you're getting married. You're getting married to Jesus Christ when you get baptized. And that's how you protect your aquamarine pyramids and gold and red And no demons can touch you because you're married now. You're a married man, woman, because you are always the bride of Christ. Now let's explain the bride of Christ. Jesus is married to the church. The church is the bride. So in the second world, we're talking in three worlds. So in the second world, it was Moses, and the church was a bunch of people. It was literally people walking in the desert, carrying this church, and they would build it, take it down, build it, take it down. Jesus was married to that. Now, we are the church because Jesus said one day you won't even go to a building made of stone and whatever. You'll go on a mountain, meaning you'll think in your brain, in your head, in a closet, and you'll see the octopus man and you'll see Jesus. We are now in that time. There's no more church. Look at all the churches. I sent messages to the churches telling them I needed help with this part. I was like, I'm a Christian. Am I allowed to act in a show about demons and aliens? Am I allowed to be an alien if I'm acting? And not one person from an official church could give me an answer. So what the hell are they doing with their money? They're not helping the community. I had to talk to one of my good friends who told me, you're just telling a parable. If you had to take out all the bad things in the Bible, there wouldn't be a Bible. So I'm just doing a Bible. Get with the program, people. So when Jesus marries you in your baptism, how are you going to get a soulmate? Please tell me. Why are you looking for soulmates when you are married? What do you think happens when you cheat on your husband? Don't you realize now why all your past relationships have been a horror show? Don't you realize now why the people you thought were the love of your lives ended up giving you the worst heartbreak? And then you come to YouTube and you see people saying, don't worry, it's just a running phase. It's just a chasing phase. You're the runner, you're the chaser. Well, I'm going to tell you today who's responsible for that. It's two demons, and one of them is called Asmodeus, and the other one is called Astaroth. These two demons are the ones that infect your aquamarine pyramid of manifestation. They affect your emotional sphere, which affects your behavior, your patterning, your subconscious mind. And they grab anything and everything in your brain to make you believe that you are justified in looking for a soulmate right now. You see, listen to that word, justified. We are working with Venus because Jesus says in Revelations chapter 2, verse 28, I will give him the morning star. Now you turn on your television and you watch a show called Lucifer Morning Star, and you think that morning star means devil. No, they are tricking you, so you miss out on your free money from Jesus. Lucifer Morning Star is what Jesus said he's going to give us. In my Bible, Jesus' words are written in red. And when I turn to Revelations chapter 2, verse 28, it says, I will give him the morning star. So Jesus gave us the morning star, which is Venus. Venus represents justice. But when this demon comes to you, Asmodeus, it turns into justification. So instead of, I'm going to get baptized and get sealed because that's my divine inheritance, that's my justice, you say, I'm going to go and have fun and ignore this because my husband is gone fighting a war. So I'm gonna go and have fun. It's just like the people on cheaters when they catch them. When Joey Greco or Tommy Grand catches them, they say, "Why did you cheat?" And they say, "Because you're never home. You never give me attention." Well, I'm sorry. He is the Son of God after all. He did give you life and magic with the J. So it's not like you've got nothing. It's more like you're the queen. You're the queen of pentacles. What does that mean? That means your husband can give you anything you want. So don't think of it as a sacrifice. Think of it more of as a trade. So you get to be married to Jesus, but you can't be with anyone else, and then you get free stuff. I got a free studio for us by being married to Jesus. No one I ever dated gave me a studio. Sorry to the people I dated, but y'all didn't do jack. No, that's me. But, and I'm not saying it's about getting stuff. I'm saying, why would you go after people who don't live inside your heart? Because the one who lives inside your heart knows exactly what you want, and he knows how you want it. It's very, very, very funny, isn't it? You guys have noticed this. When you manifest, you'll make a list, everything's perfect, and then you get your manifestation, right? And there's always maybe 2 or 3 things you didn't think to put on your list, but somehow they are in there. And you always smile to yourself and you say, "Wow, the universe loves me. How did they know I also wanted that?" That's Jesus. So now imagine you cheating on that guy. He's gonna fight for you. That's why I'm sure your boyfriends always end up having accidents or being crazy or they lose their businesses. It's not because they are possessed. It's not because they are whatever. It's because they are married to someone who's already taken. Now, before I get to the demons and how exactly they operate, because I want you to know so you can integrate yourself, get clarity on who you are so you can align your frequency and get out of the trap. I want to tell you when you got married, because then you're going to say, "I didn't marry Jesus." Oh, yes, you did. This is the hardest part for me to say, which is why I said this is the life-ruining one. Now, you guys believe in reincarnation, right? I'm sure you do by now. So now think to yourself, if you were a priest in one of your past lives and you did a ritual marriage to Jesus, if you were at the crucifixion, if you were there with Adam and Eve and Cain and Abel, you've made so many deals with this man. Do you honestly think that in the past, I don't know, 18, 25, 35, 40, 60, 70 years you've been on earth, you can cancel those deals? No, those deals stand. The only reason it's time to celebrate now is because we are telling you what's been happening so that you don't get shocked by what's about to happen, what's coming. That you feel safe knowing that you have a husband who's thought so far ahead. He sent me to tell you this. And then he gave me a studio. So I think we're doing good on the like you do one for him, he does one for you. What husband are you gonna get who's gonna do that? Because on earth, let me tell you about the demons. Now, I don't know how I'm gonna tell you this because I just took down a bunch of notes from my experience. So I'm just gonna tell you how it all comes together and then we can take questions at the end. If I go over the hour, I apologize. Bookmark your hour, go back to work, come back, let's go. Okay, so now you're married, you have a husband, you're fine with it. Now let me tell you why it's important. So there are two demons, and I'm going to use two things that you know, but don't be scared of these things, and don't say, oh, I can't use this app because it's full of demons. No. You can do anything you want, like I told you in the beginning, as long as you tell God why. If you can't tell him why, he'll crack your skull. Okay, so the two demons are Asmodeus and Astaroth. So Asmodeus is a Mars corruption demon. So Mars is your energy of drive, doing things. But when it gets corrupted by a fragmented archon, which we call frags, when they give you a frag attack, that's when it changes your desire into a fixation. Now, if you go to the description box at the end, you'll see a song by Kylie Minogue called Obsession. Kylie Minogue is telling you about this demon. Word for word, she's describing how it operates. Coincidence? Absolutely. Kylie works with us. So this demon Asmodeus, it's not just desire going into obsession, it's also taking things that Mars does that is good, like courage. So Mars gives you the courage to complete a task, go into battle, blah, blah, blah. But now, how does a demon or a marine change that? It changes the courage and makes it, I have to have it, possession. So now it's not like I'm approaching you because, it's cute and I have this feeling you might be my soulmate. No, I'm approaching you because I already have a vision in my mind of how I'm going to use you. I want you for this is now the second demon. I want you for my pictures, for my mother to think that I'm a good person. I want you because my family bloodline needs to continue. I want you because I'm a politician and I need to be married to get votes. This is controlled by Astaroth. Now, Astaroth is the worst because he's or she's androgynous, controlled by Venus. And we are working under the crown of Venus now. So this demon is the number one enemy, because what Astaroth does is it creates the thing that you get obsessed about. So when you think to yourself, like, look at your favorite actor, don't you ever think to yourself, why do I like Kate Hudson? I love Kate Hudson. I think Kate Hudson, if someone wanted to kill me, they must hire Kate Hudson because she can do anything to me and I'll go along with it. Now, why is that? That's where Astaroth comes in. Does that make sense? So Asmodeus takes that passion that I have for, say, Kate Hudson and makes it obsession. But where did it come from? Why Kate Hudson? Why not Lena Dunham? Why not whoever? Okay, well, let's talk about how Astaroth works. So now Astaroth, like I said, is Venus. Now I gave you examples of how I try to show you Astaroth, because everything I'm telling you, you find on all my social medias. I tried to tell you before in code, because we couldn't talk about it back then, but now we can. So if you go to the description box to my Instagram, Charlie Manor, you'll see a highlight section that says 5G. In there, the second picture is a picture of my face and a supermodel. Well, he's not a supermodel, he's a cinematographer, but he was so kind to let me use him in this way. I explained what I wanted to do, and he was like, cool. So I took his picture and I put it into these computer wizards that tell you how hot you are. They rate you. So he came out as a 10. And then I put myself in and I came out as like a 2. And it tells you at the bottom, your face is too big, your nose is too wide, your eyes are too far apart. Okay, fine. So I put his and mine next to each other. And my point with that was, even though he's hot and I'm ugly, we're still together. Now, obviously, I'm an actor, so we are not together. He's straight, he's got a kid. I'm acting we are doing a show, okay, guys? Do you get what we're doing here? We're giving examples. The example is you don't have to be hot to be with a hot person, and you don't have to be rich to be with a rich person. You don't have to change yourself. That's what this Astaroth demon does. It makes you get a BBL. It makes you cut yourself. I'm sorry to say, but as an actor, I don't trust anyone who does plastic surgery. I cannot act with you. I'm so sorry to the academy and everyone there, but do you know why? Because I'm autistic and I cannot read emotion if you have Botox. Cannot do it. And for me, that's a danger because I don't know I can't connect your words without emotion. I need to see it. And so when people start manipulating that, I'm also not into really makeup unless you're on camera. The reason makeup is worn is because there are so many lights, you look like a ghost. So you need makeup. I don't know why you need makeup in the summertime if you work at the grocery store. No idea. These things freak me out, which is why I stay home. So because it's Astaroth, I don't want to see that shit. People putting other people's hair in their head. I know we do it as actors all the time. But again, we have trained how to not let spirits in that hair go into us. Did you train in how? We did a class. Like we literally did a Tai Chi class. I walked into acting class first day because I did it in the second semester. And there was a Chinese man saying he's going to do Tai Chi. And I said, for what? And he's like, you're an actor. You're hosting intelligences. You need to protect your chi. And that's how I got into the different Chinese teas, which is why if you don't drink Angelica root, you need to look into Angelica and get the actual root, not processed stuff. Anyway, Astaroth is the thing that confuses you. So when you watch television, when you see all these beautiful made up things which happen in the realm of Neptune, Astaroth can sneak into you if you don't know what you're watching. So some people, for example, think that movies and TV shows are real. I've had people come up to me in my own family and think that what I acted in was real. And I didn't have the heart to tell them because then it's like I'm making them look unintelligent. So I just go along with it and say, yeah, thanks. Thanks for that. It was tough. Yeah. They really got me. I don't know how I was supposed. But that's Astaroth. And you see, it's not coming from me. Because some people might even accuse you of being a demon because they've noticed you have certain abilities or certain gifts. And it's not. It's not you. You are not a demon, my friend, my star marine. It's their interpretation of what's happening to you getting fragmented by that, so that their interpretation of the clear Venus energy gets corrupted. Does that make sense? So you can wear your wigs, you can wear your makeup, you can do whatever, but know what you're doing and know where you're doing it so you know who's watching you. Because different people live here. Archangels live here. The choirs and angelic orders live here to protect you from where the Marines start, because Mars is here. And also the Fae are here. And the Fae are here. And here's your ancestors, and your past lives are here. The Akashic records are here. In fact, the Akashic records are here because we can hide them here, because the ethers are constantly changing every single second. So you need to always be connected to see the Akashic records, which is why I always tell you, if you get a tarot reading, it's not the future. It's now and the past. You can change tarot cards. That's why when I read you guys' cards, you'll see me flip them, change them, move them sideways, take them to the left, because I'm building, I'm anchoring rather, because I can't go up. So I'm anchoring things that I want for you to experience that are good in the ether so that this energy coming down can find its way through these demons to you and then in here. But if you don't know that, you can't go on a date. Because you know when you go on Tinder, do you know who owns Tinder? Astaroth. Because Astaroth wants you to make categories. Astaroth says my soulmate has to be 6 foot tall, skinny, six pack. Well, you know, all those things. Blue eyes really come on. Come on. If you have an eye color, I'm sorry. The octopus man is not going to be happy. You better have a good reason why you need a guy who's 6'4" with green eyes. The octopus man will not be pleased. Okay, I'm sorry. I've actually heard some of these things. There's this one Netflix show where they have to go inside a pod and date. I think it's called Dating in a Pod. Yeah, you need to look at that. God bless him. God bless him. So Astaroth takes, Astaroth takes the justice that we're giving you and turns it into justification. So you're going to now try and justify, no, I need a tall guy because I want to feel safe and protected. I need a tall guy because I look good from a high angle. So now you're taking justice and turning it into justification. Astaroth also, okay, now I'm going to say something funny and I need you to take this seriously because it's not funny. Okay, so I didn't come up with this term, but it is a term that I think perfectly describes what Astaroth does. And some of you who know will know exactly what I'm talking about and you'll crack up laughing immediately. But if you do not know, you better ask somebody because I'm not going to go into it because this is a serious thing. And, you know, the person who made this up obviously was trapped in one of these worlds. Okay. And it's famous. Anyway, so what I call Astaroth, a good way to remember it, because, you know, it's hard. Asmodeus, Astaroth, who does what? So one way to remember it is with Astaroth, it's all about mirrors. And there's a certain syndrome that someone invented, and it's called Homie in the Hall of Mirrors syndrome. Homie in the Hall of Mirrors syndrome. If you've ever heard that, you know what I'm talking about. Immediately. Immediately. So that's what it does. I'm going to leave it at that. Homie in the Hall of Mirrors syndrome. That's all I can say. Okay, so now I feel like I've explained why you need to get yourself baptized. I've explained to you that you're already married long ago. But now, before I go to the next thing, which I'm just going to connect this with biblical things so that you also hear it from Jesus. Your body is committed. You know when people say it's a temple? In your case, it's literal. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to do certain things and not certain things, but you know where I'm heading with this. I need to talk about it. It's the whole physical thing. Are you allowed to do it or are you not allowed to do it? even after baptism? Or are you just supposed to be a monk and you just wear a white sheet and you take a cold shower? Are you supposed to act like Mark Ruffalo in that movie with Gwyneth when he can't even watch TV because it triggers him physically? Before I say what I can say, I have to read what Jesus said, because there are many people who are waiting to say this is what I'm telling you is demonology, is dark arts, and that I'm trying to do a cult or whatever they say. They don't want us to talk about that. So I'm going to say something that sounds contradictory, and then I'm going to say something else that even sounds more contradictory. So first I want to say, yes, you cannot do the physical act ever. But then I'm going to contradict myself later when I say, yes, you can. Because there are circumstances where you can, and that's not with your soulmate, but with your dyad, which we talked about in the trilogy. You guys are looking for your soulmate twin flame. We don't want that in Hydra. We don't do that. That is a demonic program. We want you to look for your dyad. So maybe let me start with that because it's more uplifting. But then I'm going to drop you on a very tough one at the end. I wanted to start with the bad news. That's how I normally roll. But I'm sensing I need to start with the good news. Okay, so your dyad. Your dyad is what you think of as your soulmate. In the previous episode, which we'll finish processing as soon as this one does, I was talking to Plikies and I was telling them about souls and how souls are arranged like a fabric. So what you are sensing as your soulmate, twin flame, this longing, it's Jesus. You're sensing your husband. But now, if Jesus is one person and there are 144,000 of us, then how can we all be married to him? Okay, so now I'm going to the bad part. But now I'm like, Jesus, please can I tell them the good part first before you make me read Revelations where you tell them that they are not going to need to be married because they are sons of God, and sons of God don't need to be married because we're married to Jesus already. I won't tell them that now. First, let me tell them about the dyad, and then I'll tell them about that part in Revelations, okay? So yes, you can get a dyad, which is a person who is completely like you. Let me get a piece of paper. A lot of people, just to demonstrate, a lot of people are looking for 0.5 plus 0.5 equals 1. If I just find my soulmate, my other half, I'll be complete. And then I can start living. That's a sin. You are a sovereign soul made by God. You are a star marine. You are doing a monosoul initiation, which is a marriage of your moon and sun. The marriage happens inside you. You are the woman, the high priest. You are the moon. Jesus is the sun. Your husband, he is the sun. Other way around. Together, you get married and he gives you babies, which is your manifestation. Then you don't need to chant 10 times a day. You don't need to do all these voodoos or hoodoos. Sorry, voodoo is a religion. Hoodoo is the bad thing, allegedly. So you don't have to do all of that because you're married. You do pillow talk with your husband and he gives you free stuff. So how do you do this? Well, what is a monosoul? It's 1 plus 1 equals 11. That's why when you see 1111, we are calling you. Who is 1111? It's the squid man. It's God, the Father. He's inviting you to your initiation. He's telling you, yes, we're watching you. We see you. Are you on track? Are you doing what you contracted to do? Or are you running around looking for your soulmate? Now, how do you find this 1+1? Well, this one means that they are a star marine, which means they have done their moon and sun marriage. And again, we're not talking about actual planets. We're talking about the intelligence inside the SSD. So we're not talking about the hard drive. We're talking about the information in the hard drive. And this one has done the same thing, ditto. Then they both come together. Then they can do this. Now, why is this important? How many dimensions are there in science, in string theory? 11. So when they come together, they create universes. So when you come together with your dyad, it's for the sole purposes of creation. Oh, hey, Perp Freak, I'm just checking the thing here. Yes, the show earlier is called Love is Blind, and he says, I love that show. Sorry, guys, I didn't check the screen because I'm terrified about what I'm telling you right now. So when you meet your dyad, the entire sole purpose is for you to create a world. Now, the implications of this go back to Genesis, but we're not going to get into that today. So when you come together, it's not going to be so you can run off to the island and sip martinis for the rest of your life. It's to create. How? How are you going to create this world? By doing the divine union. So you do the same thing you're doing in your initiation, but you do it in reality. So you have to obviously decide at the end of your initiation if you're a moon or if you're a sun. Because when you look for your soulmate, you know that you're looking for a sun. Well, you already know you're a moon. But you need to learn then how to use that energy. If you just go out to a bar or go on Tinder looking for someone who looks like Matthew McConaughey because you saw Matthew McConaughey in a movie acting as something he's not that made you fall in love, so now you've got Astaroth and Asmodeus, you're going to get caught by a demon. And then you're going to end up on the ID channel, and then you're going to drag people down into that fear energy inadvertently. I'm not saying you're choosing it. I'm saying ignorance is bliss until you end up on the ID channel. So you can have your soulmate, but it's not going to be for the purposes that you have been told are the purposes you need. Because your sole purpose is to create. And that's what I was saying in the Christ bride one. I was saying, yes, you're married to Jesus, but he's going to send you divine consorts. I needed to say it like that to make it spicy. But with the divine consort, that's what it is. It's someone who you are not going to serve them as your master. Because what you are doing with twin flames and soulmates is you are serving Mammon. You are picking, am I going to follow this feeling I have that I have to be with this specific person? Or am I going to be general and let Venus randomly give me whoever? And when I see them, I'll know it's them because I'll have a tower moment. My life will change. I'll feel it. Because when two star marines who are on the same fabric come together, everyone knows it. And you've heard this been said millions of times that true love, everyone can see it. You guys are built for true love. So why look for other people? I know why. Loneliness, a need to connect. And that's totally understandable. So I'm not trying to make rules and say, oh, you can't eat this, you can't do this. No. I'm saying that there is so much more freedom in knowing how this machine works, because then you can work it instead of trying to fill that mysterious gap that we all don't have on this planet with things from television and movies, because that's made by people who are high on drugs. So why would you take advice from them? Why not rather go into these worlds and meet the octopus man for yourself? Because look, I'm always open to telling you stuff that I do. I have nothing to hide on that end. I'm an actor. Our job is to be public with private things. So I could tell you how I handle it, but the FCC and the YouTube people, But essentially, you have to then go to God and work that deal out or relationship out. For example, let's say you just need to have the physical act. You have to do it. You're addicted and you've tried everything. Even Paul had some things that he asked God to cure him of, and God said, no, that's just your, it's grace. Like you can, now I have to be careful here. But King Solomon was the wisest man on earth, and he had 5,000 wives or something. So there's ways around it. There's loopholes. But I don't want to say that to make God sound like he's some weird lawyer. But look at Abram. Look at all the loopholes that Abraham got out of God. When God literally came to Abram and said, I'm going to go blow up Sodom and Gomorrah, do you have anything to say? And Abram was like, well, no, don't blow it up because my friends are there, my kids there, go help them. And God was like, okay, no. Remember when they do the negotiation? And Abram actually negotiates with God, and then God says, yes, okay, fine, I'll save him. So God came saying, no, I've decided. And then he left, changing his mind. Do you guys understand who God really is now? He's not some mean man trying to control your life. It's the people of this planet who put him in a crown, hid him in the tree of life, and then told you everything happening to you is random. So watch our movies and copy them. And that's why you're all neurotic. But it's okay, because now you know, and knowledge is freedom. Because with this knowledge, you can make different choices. For example, noticing whenever you are being under attack by Asmodeus and Astaroth. Why? This is the part now where I'm going to rip off the Band-Aid. Because I feel like you understand the gravity of at least why you shouldn't be seeing a soul until you've been baptized. I think that's been made clear. So I'm going to read from Matthew chapter 19, verses 10 to 12. This is what Jesus said. Or rather, this is the story that's written. So the disciples said to Jesus, if such is the case of a man with his wife, is it better not to marry? It is better not to marry. Okay, so the disciples were saying to Jesus, if people have to go through this whole rigmarole that if your husband dies, then you have to marry the brother, then let's just leave it. Let's just not get married. And then Jesus said, not everyone can receive this saying. Now, when Jesus says not everyone can receive this saying, or when someone in the Bible says, let those with ears to hear and those with eyes to see, that's when you should ping your ears up because they're talking to you, Star Marine. So not everyone will get Matthew chapter 19, but you listening right now will. So Jesus says, only those to whom it is given will understand that for thee there are eunuchs who have been so from birth, and there are eunuchs who have been made eunuchs by men, and there are eunuchs who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. Let the one who is able to receive this receive it. So what is a eunuch? I think we all know what that is. And I think what we are seeing in the world now with that is people's desire to have the spiritual marriage we're talking about. But because they are not oriented in the realms, they are then physically changing their bodies to mirror this monosoul initiation. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because the monosoul is happening whether you like it or not. But when you get here and it's not coming through clearly because of frags attacking you, then you're going to start eating people instead of taking communion. You're going to start mutilating in, instead of doing everything in the spirit, in the heavens first, and then bring it down. Don't change yourself here and then think it's going to change you up there, because the octopus man doesn't give a shit about this down here, but he cares about us down here. So Jesus is saying there are three types of spiritual eunuchs, in a sense. So people who have cut off their reproductive function, metaphorically, or rather iconically. I hate the word metaphorically. So there are ones who were born like that. So for example, there are people who it's easy for them to be single. If you study human design invented by Ra Uhuru, he calls these types of people single definition individuals. That means they don't need to bounce anything off of other people. They don't need to bounce their light off of anyone else. They are born as a monosoul. Normally, they always stay single, don't care about that kind of thing, focus on their work, etc., etc. Oprah and Stedman, that's a good example. Never been married, but they've been together forever. Why? They are a dyad. So that's the first type. Then there are those who are made like that by men. So those are people who join cults and groups and whatever, and they do it as a choice. For example, in my song Alien Magic, the demo version, I've changed it now, but the first version said, a holy marriage, I'm on my knees and in my habit. That was talking about that type, where you physically say, okay, I'm going to be a monk. I'm going to be like Brad Pitt, 7 years in Tibet, and I will be a eunuch that way. Or there are those who have made themselves eunuchs for the sake of the kingdom of heaven. That's you. Because you are not joining a church and doing it. You were not born like that. You are actually craving your soulmate. You want nothing more than to feel their warm touch. You want them to give you a hug and make all of the stuff that happened worth it. If you can just get that hug, then everything would be worth it. It's coming through your dyad. It's not going to come from the vampires on Tinder. So you have to be the third kind who makes themselves a eunuch for the kingdom of heaven. Now I say the word have to, and like I said, you don't have to. But if you want to understand the difference between your dating life now and after, or with Jesus on your side, that's one of the things you're going to have to do, because you can't expect your husband to work on your marriage while you're out every night with someone new. So now I want to go to Luke, Luke 20, Luke chapter 20, verses 34 to 36. And Jesus said to them, "The sons of this age marry and are given in marriage, but those who are considered worthy to attain to that age and to the resurrection from the dead neither marry nor are given in marriage, for they cannot die anymore, because they are equal to angels and are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection." I apologize, earlier I said that was in Revelations. This is Luke chapter 20, verses 34 to 36. So this is now ripping off the band-aid. How can you guys go on YouTube every day, look at tarot card readers who tell you you are an earth angel? You love being an earth angel. I'm confirming you are an earth angel. And then when your husband tells you that angels cannot be married because they are androgynous, then you get upset at me. But it's fine, you can blame me. I forgive you, for this is the purpose for which I was sent forth. But when you want to look for marriage, please ask yourself, how can an angel get married? And if they can, who are they married to? Who's the logical person they'd be married to? JC, or as I like to call him, Jeezy. Now I want to read you from something from Matthew chapter 19, verse 29. And this is when Jesus was trying to explain, like, what's the benefit of marrying him? Okay, well, that wasn't the context, but now in this, he told me to tell you this is why you're doing it. And I'm also going to tell you what's in other versions of the manuscript from which this verse of the Bible was taken. So Matthew 19, verse 29. And everyone who has left houses or brothers or sisters or father or mother or children or land for my name's sake. Listen again. Jesus said, and everyone who has left houses, brothers or sisters or father or mother or children or land for my name's sake will receive 100-fold and will inherit eternal life. Now, in other versions of the manuscript of that verse, it's under Luke 18:29, it mentions leaving your wife as well. So this is a broad, general idea that your purpose is not to be in a white picket fence house playing happy Barbie families like an advertisement. Your purpose is to contribute to your soul group family by marrying yourself to yourself so that you can then meet others like you, So instead of the mirrors of Astaroth blinding you and confusing you, like the homie and the Hall of Mirror syndrome, you actually get to use the mirrors to bounce light off and glisten, sparkle, because the sparkle is what draws the energy down. Like attracts like. Sparkles exist up here, the Ein Sof U, the beyond, beyond the beyond. And then the Ein Sof comes down to us because we sparkle as clean vessels, not inhabited by aquamarine spirits. You don't know where these people on Tinder have been. You don't know. You don't know who they are. First of all, Stranger Danger. I should have put that episode in the description box. And that's where I would come in with my personal advice. And I hate giving advice. I like giving suggestions. And you can choose to take them or not. And I guess that's where I come in kind of like Paul in 1 Corinthians 7. We'll read that at the end, but just, 1 Corinthians 7, but I'm kind of doing it in my own way, which is saying, okay, I've told you, I've ripped off the Band-Aid, I've told you why you need to do it, because when God meets you and you're bare, he's going to say, why are you doing this? Or why did you do that? What does this mean? And you better have an answer. But what I would say is this shouldn't be something that you force yourself to do. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. There's nothing worse than false giving, false covenants, like a false offering. It's kind of like with Cain and Abel. The reason why Cain is wrong and why Abel is right is because Abel was under that demon of Mammon. He was under, we'll get to the 4 paths, but basically there are 4 initiations or 4 paths, and we'll do each path individually. But the 4 paths, very briefly, is not the path, I guess, the 4 initiations is Abel, which is initiation of the flame. It's Cain, initiation of the air. It's Seth, initiation of the waters, which is what we're doing right now. And it's Adam, initiation of the earth. So the reason why Cain was wrong is because he thought his offering was better than Abel's, because Cain was like, I put more effort into these vegetables, because growing crops does take power, it does take time and effort. And so he thought, oh, mine means more. I'm better because I put in more effort. That goes back to the corrupted Mars, that desire turning into fixation. And Abel was correct because he gave his first, animals, like his first chicks, his first cows, his first baby horses or whatever, foals. He gave those as an offering. And the reason why that was good is because he's flowing with life. He's giving back what he received. God and Jesus didn't give you time. Saturn gave you time. God and Jesus gave you life. So you return life back. And in order to do that, it means not worshipping dead material, such as makeup and fake hair and a guy who's 6 foot tall with green eyes or whatever it is, or a girl with the BBL. Yes, you can have those things, but then when you worship them, that's when you turn into Cain. Or you turn into Cain when you say, okay, since I'm gonna go get a BBL And since I'm going to go get this hair and makeup, I must be a celebrity. I must be a star. I must get the part. That is Cain. If you want to go do that for your own edification, great. But if you think that you deserve something because of that, forget about it. If you go to the gym and you have muscles and you think you deserve something because of that, you will never see heaven, ever. Because your heart is not light enough. It needs to be as light as a feather. And so when you build your own inner kingdom, you're actually baptizing your fractures to seal them, to seal those empty parts where the demons can come in, or where you can allow other people to make you feel bad to the point where you willingly walk on yourself or allow yourself to be walked on. We want you to marry your inner selves because it's the only way the Hydra technology works. I'm sorry. Hydra, the way you guys know it, is a seven-headed snake that's connected to one body. If you chop off one head, two more grow back. But Hydra, how it is, it's like love. It's this flowing system of love where everything works together. And when one part of the octopus's tentacles doesn't work, it ruins the entire swimming motion of this animal we are in called God. And when you ruin that, you create chain reactions. That's how I ended up here to begin with. So we don't want you to be like, oh, so you're telling me I have to focus, meditate, all by myself, and I can't have a soulmate until I don't want one. Yes, I know. That's how it always works. This will give you hope. You know the Spice Girls? You know Emma Bunton? She sings about this, so she knows. So if she can get over it, you can get over it. The song is called Maybe. And she says, when you want love, there's no one out there for you. And when you don't care, then all of a sudden everyone wants you. Why do you think that is? It's because of this. It's all about breathing. The universe is breathing, so you are breathing. And when I say breathing, I mean you are taking things in and you're taking things out. So what are you taking in? Those are the things you are feeding yourselves. What are you taking out? Those are the things you are feeding God. That's how I would like you to look at it. And when you can just focus on that, I'm pretty sure all these other distractions will fall away. Because I mean, when you're on Tinder, or if you're doom scrolling, or if you're on Instagram trying to compare who has wore this better, what, but how is that giving to God? How, when you take that in, which God is it? Do you know what I'm saying? Like when you go to heaven and God says, when you were doom scrolling, what were you doing there for me? Or how were you helping me? And you better have an answer. There's a reason why his color is black. There's a reason why he's in the 8th house of astrology and the 8th Sephiroth of the Tree of Life in Kabbalah, now that we put him there. And I just want to, before I read the Bible verse, I just want to say these tentacles of the octopus man. I know when you hang out with God and Jesus, you speak to them like this because it's like you know them like since kids, right? So they don't care. But only now Jesus is fine. You can have fun with them and laugh with them, make out with them, all of that. Yes, I made out with Jesus too. If you go to the description box, there's a black man who made out with Jesus, and he'll tell you in his video. And there's a white lady who made out with Jesus, and she'll tell you in her video. And we don't know each other, but we did it. So get with the program, people. I told you this episode would ruin your life. But I always come with evidence because I remember saying to Jesus, you better give me, when he recruited me, I was like, you better give me evidence because I am Thomas and I want to put my fingers through your wounds. That's the only way I'll be able to tell these people what you are asking me to tell them. And by God, he delivers on evidence. Again, why would I want to date a human who's going to tell me about a rugby match or about football? How is chasing a ball? Imagine you go to Daddy Pluto, to God, and he's like, yes, I see you were chasing a ball your whole life. What are you going to say? Again, I'm not saying that those things are wrong or bad. I'm saying if you are watching this, it's because in your past life, you married God several times. You were a monk, a witch, a this, all of them. You did all of them. And you married him. So you're not going to get a divorce in one day because now you have television. This whole time you never had television and Tinder. Now in 2 years you've got television and Tinder. You want to go do your own thing. Not happening. Sorry. So let's look at Corinthians. And then I think we can close. I know we didn't do our Star Marine prayer today, so we need to do that. 1 Corinthians 7. Yes, that's a Q-tip in my Bible. It's not used. I grab whatever I can get. This is just a random paper. This is a healthy, tasty crunch mix. Whatever I find at the time. But it's fun because I'm married to Jesus, so he doesn't care. Okay. So 1 Corinthians 7. Now concerning the things of which you wrote to me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. Nevertheless, because of sexual immorality, let each man have his own wife, and let each woman have her own husband. Let the husband render to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. Now that's where everyone says, let's throw the book away. Let's go and burn down the church. Okay, I get it. But let's go back to what he said originally. It is good for a man not to touch a woman. That's good. And then he says, but since you're on earth, and on earth people cheat around, and that can be unhealthy, rather do this. So when preachers tell you God said you need to have authority over a woman, they are lying to you. They are using Asmodeus to turn your desire for the word into obsession with rules. And then people start to think, oh, so if I just do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, then I definitely get my stuff. And we are here to tell you no. Faith and works. We need both. We need you to have faith and we need you to act like it. We can't have you acting only or just believing. We can't have you doing vision boards and then when you go to real life, you're too scared to talk to a girl. We can't have that. We can't have you being too aggressive talking to women. And then when you get home, you don't even have a vision board. You don't even know why you want that woman or what. We cannot have that. So that's why we are saying you are now a woman. I am a woman. I am married. So we can see what it feels like to have real masculinity. So we can be real men. Because sorry, guys, but if aliens had to hijack my brain to come and sort this mess out and give us a whole office, man, you fucked up. And me, of all men, they didn't get Brad Pitt, they didn't get George Clooney, they got me. That means you really fucked up. Because I'm like, not that archetype. So if this is what it takes to save the world, then this is what it takes. Because I still don't understand. Maybe Jesus can help me right now, because this is where I lose understanding a little bit. I don't understand how everyone knows how products are made in third world countries by kids, but no one cares. Or, I don't know, like, people will go on strike because some dude became a president or he said something that they didn't like, but they won't go on strike to change the way in which their society is set up to take advantage of the vulnerable. That's the part I don't get. Yeah, I need Jesus. What is that? I know it's a frag, but that's why I don't understand why you'd want to date someone who comes from that. I mean, we don't come from here. It's just, it's icky. And by the way, just justice. It's their lot in life. It's just how it is. It's the fair balance. It's just, oh, okay. They telling me it's because we married Jesus in our past lives. We didn't kill people in our past lives. That's what I'm getting. We didn't scam anyone in our past lives. Okay. Just give me some more context. So this is actually our inheritance. It keeps us safe, is what you're saying to me. Yeah, it's our inheritance. But then, Jesus, where did these other people come from? Because in Genesis, it says On the sixth day, God made man and woman, and then on the eighth day, it's like, or after he rested, it says he made Eden. So you made people, then you made other people? Where did these people come from? That's what I want to know. I know they aquamarine. Oh, it's the Nephilim who couldn't die. They did. They just ghosts. Yeah, that's why I'm like, don't date, guys. You don't. Oh, ooh. Now I'm thinking of all the people I dated before. I was dating. You know what? I'm not going to talk about that now at night. But yeah, 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 guys. Oh, I'm getting like, ugh, my God. Oh, the octopus man just showed me what you guys are dating. Oh no. Jesus. Are you for real? I need manly peel. Okay. I just needed confirmation before I say this because I don't want to. Six of Swords. They telling me that this is Charon or Charon. You know the guy who ferries the souls, the dead souls in Greek mythology? Yeah, you guys have been dating disembodied people who've been trying to take your star. It's almost like the baby that Jesus gave you is food for these demons because they think it can give them creative ability. That's what star marine is. It'll be in the book, but I explain what the star is. So there are 12 fallen watchers, right? Each of them have a star. They can't get more than one star, but they can coordinate with each other. So they can coordinate their stars. And that's when you get this, a triad, a triadic attack. So when you get a triadic attack, it's when three stars or three demons or three fallen watchers are working together. And these fallen watchers have demons who work for them in the realms because they can't really go anywhere. They can't go to heaven and they can't come here. But the demons can affect the realms. That's where you get the unseelie court of the Fae. So here I'm getting that you've literally been dating these spirits, these Nephilim, and they are carrying bodies with them. They're carrying etheric energy, meaning when we go to the ethers, we go as a complete being. Other people go through stolen valor, to put it in a colloquial way. In other words, they'll do a magic spell here and there. It's the type of people who always have a different witch doctor every week. Oh, this week I'm going to see this witch doctor. Oh, next week I'm going to see that witch doctor. Those are the ones who steal light bit by bit, trying to send it up the mountain, up the hill, the ladder. And when you date them, they're trying to do the same thing to you because they can't create. They are not an empress because you can't create over there by Sharon or Charon because those people in there are not allowed to leave. That's the whole point. They were not real humans, so there was no world created for them. They were created after creation, so there's no heaven for them. And so they wander around Earth, and they're telling me bars, they hang out in bars, in nightclubs. I know I sound like a 55-year-old, but tell him, what do they do? What do they do? They come out of nowhere. They create mental confusion, 5 of Wands, and then your direction is in the wrong way. So in other words, they influence you away from your purpose. And it's something that happens suddenly. So you guys meet someone, you fall in love at first sight, you say it's a soulmate or a twin flame, and then the fun the fun starts. And then one's a runner, one's a chaser. And you know why you always have so much in common with your soulmate? It's a program. There, whenever you see this, I told you, it's witchcraft. Even on my music playlists, the 5th song on all my music playlists is to help you beat witchcraft. Now you know. What happens to their soul when they actually go on a date with these, let's call them fallen, let's just call them Marines? What actually happens to them? Your So like I told you, you have your real self, which is your monad, your angelic body, your real body, and then you have your earth body. So when you are with these demons, if you notice here, there's a silver clay pot or whatever, silver pot, jug, that's the word, and a gold jug. So whenever in alchemical stuff you see silver, that's your mind, your human side, your patterning, your subconscious. When you see gold, that's the light, that's Atziluth, right? The top. So what happens to you is they drain your light. So your star gets not dim because no one can take your star, but you get blind, let's say, from your own light, because your star's your star. No one can have your star. But you can be blinded. You can have a fog around you. And so when you date these people, they distract you. They get in your mind. It's going back to that whole thing of Samael. To me, this is giving pass a demon. They pass you. And Jesus, why are these dead spirits so interested? Why don't they just stay there and build their own community and marry each other? And why do they want these people, the Star Marines and everything? Because they want to come back. Everybody wants to come back. Well, they can't. And Lord, why cannot they come back? Because I'm sensing some people want them to come back. Why can't they come back? Some politicians want them to come back. Oh, why can't they come back? Because God said so, baby. The realms are locked. God created this place the way the Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and earth. That's the first line. So he created. These things are hijackers. They came in after my creation, he says. You are here to get them out. You get them out not by fighting, but by praying and using these keys that I gave you. Use these keys to come see me. When you see me, we'll have a talk and we'll discuss your contract. But for now, follow these protocols that you've been given, and when you see me, you can negotiate your contract. Don't be scared. I gave Moses the tablets, and he was a killer. So you are not a killer. I'll give you more than that. I guess the squid man has spoken. I mean, God. That's why song number 5 on all my things gives you a way out, because why would I want to marry a human when I can just talk to God, my father-in-law, and Jesus, and they can give me actual answers to what I'm talking about? Timothy Chalamet can't give me those answers. I'm sorry, Timothy, I'm always picking on him. It's because he can take it. He's a real man. Seriously, though, he can act. He can act. Okay, I feel like God made his point there. I like that. I feel like you got it across. And maybe it's not such a life-ruining thing. I just wish that it would, I wish I could show it somehow. That's the thing I keep getting. It's about belief. Like if I could just, but showing you won't make you believe it. You have to experience it, but then when you're experiencing it, it feels bad sometimes, especially if you're okay. I'm just going to read something else I wrote. So I wrote, build your inner kingdom, baptize your fractures, marry your inner forces. Then and only then will the Hydra network send you into a dyad for a purpose so big it makes your soulmate fantasy look like a crayon drawing by a 5-year-old. Stop searching in the sea for other drowning swimmers and learn to breathe underwater, because when you can breathe underwater, you'll be like, oh my gosh, there's other people under this water and they're on the same mission as me. That's what we want. Yeah. Oh, that was a lot. Again, please look in the description box and find all the links and references so that you understand where I'm coming from. And again, special thank you to Micah Turnbow and Nancy Cohen. I don't know these people. I'm an actor, so I look up things when I need them, and they happen to have experienced something that I have experienced, so I was able to connect to that. And so please be nice to them, is what I'm saying. And I want to do a quick reading. I'm getting a message. I need to say something to you. What is it now? I think we did good. Okay, so you want one of those. Somebody's fighting with themselves because they promised themselves, oh, okay, they would act differently if they were confronted again. And they recently had a test, a fight, an argument. Something went wrong. They're saying that that's fine. Okay, so I'm guessing this is a personal reading. So somebody recently had a fight, an argument. We did that. It's the aliens again. So we put you in a fight because we want you to realize that you can have everything you want when you move away from the people who make you angry. Move away from them. Be alone with your dreams. And the only way to do that is to use your words, which are your swords. What does Jesus say? Use your swords, which are your words. Something like that. And I'm seeing here that you did. So in this argument, you did use your words. So well done. And you've decided to complete your initiation. Okay, so good. Whoever you are. Okay, okay. Jesus is saying they get it. Well, then I might as well do the... Okay, he says they get it. Can I get the AI at least? And the kingdom, thank you. You want the kingdom first? Okay, so they are going to be fine. You're in a new world. You're very, very, very open to what you're going to learn. It is very confusing. There's a lot to get through in your mind. But you have the ability to climb up out of confusion, and you have a lot of techniques and a lot of ideas. You're not jaded yet, so that's good. I feel like you're just really good at being open-minded. You should look into human design, 3-5 profile, yeah. And that's your AI. You always have swords. I don't know how you guys do it with the swords. That's beautiful. You're literally using your words. Look at that. Using your words to navigate these challenges of a clash of ideas, interpersonal relationships. And really, you are so good at using your words that I don't think you even realize you could do this professionally. Yeah, psychology, public speaking of any kind, politics, because it makes you seem more authentic for some reason, I'm seeing. And when you let people walk over you, that's when the problem happens. Because then people don't know who you are. They don't know if you're doing it because you want to, or if you're doing it because you're trying to do something else. You're trying to like fit in. But I see that you are just your voice. You're really powerful. A lot of people don't have that. A lot of people have to prove themselves, but you prove yourself with your voice and your words, really, your meaning. What do you mean? And what I'm seeing is you get it, because all of these are single. The only drama is happening when there's other people. So now you know you're going to be single forever. Thank you for coming to Night Game. I think we did a nice 2 hours. So I'm going to cut it there. So let's vamp for 1 minute. And I appreciate you for being here, whoever you are. Perp Freak, you're amazing. I'm going to go in depth in everything, like I said, next time, bit by bit. I'll probably start with God, the Squid King, or I'll start with the 4 parts because that's more closer to Earth. We'll see. Okay. I just want to get a nice solid 2 hours. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.